Now, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Game Trades, and what I'm going to share with you are Topstep X settings you need to pass your $150,000 account. Plus, I'm going to share with you settings that you absolutely do not touch, and that's coming a little later in the video. Now, let's go ahead and get into this. We are going to set for the $150,000 account, we're going to set a max loss of $900. Why? Because we'll get to that in a second. Right. So just trust me on this, bro. $900 loss. Why? What we're worried about more so is the risk to ruin. Okay. So we're going to go on over to ChatGPT, and I already asked the question for you. What is the probability of 5 red days in a row if limited to 3 trades a day and you're a 55% trader? This is important because if you go ahead and lose all 3 trades, that's $900 loss. 5 days in a row is $4,500 drawdown. You see how we did the math there? So what I'm trying to do is limit the probability or the possibility. And what that gives us is a 1.42% chance of actually experiencing 5 red days in a row. Okay. So of course, this lends to the idea that $300 per trade is probably the max trade allotment, right? So now that we know that the max trade risk is $300, we need to know the right instrument to fit within $300, okay? And then this is going to point out why we shouldn't set a fixed profit and a fixed stop loss. So 900, awesome. Symbols, guys, in order for this to work, we need to trade for the S. Now, one thing about ES, okay, it's small enough to be able to fit within your big drawdown, but it also moves at a pace enough to know when you're wrong, right? And it won't trigger emotions in the same way, let's say NQ would or CL or gold or YM, any of those other tickers, right? So let's go ahead and begin blocking anything that isn't ES or MES. So that means CL, we go ahead, add CL, we block. We go ahead, add MCL, right? Add that, we block. Now, for those who are wondering where you get the risk settings, you simply come on over to your settings here and then risk settings, right? So you want to pretty much block all the tickers that you tend to move to when, you're in drawdown or emotions trigger, right? A fan favorite, a lot of traders like to jump into NQ, right? Drawdown is like, okay, I just need one NQ trade to get me out of drawdown. And what happens is when you lose that trade, oh my God, everything just falls apart. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure we have the CLs, the NQs, the YMs, the GCs, and their micro equivalents blocked. Now, we go to symbol contracts. Now we're talking about ES. So we're going to add ES and we're going to limit it to the contracts. What I want is granular control. So we're going to go ahead and add MES. Now MES, right, is essentially a fraction of ES. So let's say we entered one contract on ES, right? But we don't want to enter another whole contract with ES. What we can do is approach it granularly and then go on over to MES and add 5 micros, okay, instead of one whole mini. So now you have a 1.5 stake into the trade. So essentially now we're limited to 3 whole contracts of ES and 20 MES, right? I'm going to show you guys something, and then you'll understand why we 100% avoid this here. Position, risk, profit brackets. Oh my, it sounds like a smart idea. I'm going to show you right now how it's just absolutely wrecking you. Now, we have an entry signal here at 9:45. Guys, this is trade 1348. Go ahead and check it out for day trade, right? Get the edge you deserve, right? So let me go ahead and just do a replay here. And what I'm waiting for is a trade design. And my trade designs, when they populate right here, the risk is based on ATR. Okay, so the risk on this trade is 2.5, 2.75, right? Now, that changes per trade and per scenario because it's based on ATR, aka volatility. So what that means is, for instance, if we go to later in the day, guys, you see the risk box is a little bit bigger, right? 3.75, almost 4. So if you had a stop at 2.75, you ended up getting wicked out right here, right? Surely getting wicked out, right? So that's why setting a fixed stop really doesn't make sense, right? You want to use HER, the multiplier of HER, to set your stops like a pro. And that's what we do here at Trade 5048 when we give you the trade designs. Okay, so going back to this, obviously a new trader isn't going to know any better and say like, oh my God, this is a great idea, but it's really not. Now, the indicator I want to give you guys um, is known as the Big MACD. And what the Big MACD is doing is it's letting you know right here, you can see giving you an entry and then giving you an exit at the peak, right? So you get an entry and then you got an exit at the peak. You get an entry and exit at a peak, right? We're going to see that with price action. Now, to get what we call a GT500, you need to sign up at Trade 3048, and this is our macro trend, which keeps us in a trend forever, okay? But this indicator here I'll include in the description. Guys, go ahead and check this out, right? What's really working against you is anxiety, sense of urgency, not having a trading plan, not knowing whether your edge works or not because the way Topstep X is obfuscating data, but we can actually control that by limiting how much we're going to allow ourselves to lose per day and the instruments we're trading. Anyways, if you like this video, make sure you let me know down in the comments. I really appreciate it. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. I'm out. Have a blessed one. Be safe out there. Peace.